you for your excellent sharing. 那其实我们知道啊，每个国家都有每个国家的设计特色，可能这些设计特色呢，源自于每个国家的文化沉淀、文化底蕴，当然也源自于我们每个国家的人民的生活习惯等等啊。但是刚才 Maurizio 的分享呢，让我们认识到，意大利的设计呢，可以说它不仅仅只是风格的展现，更是一种生活哲学和文化的传承。那我相信，这对于我们河北设计的创新发展，也具有着非常重要的启发意义啊。那接下来我们将有请 Alberto 工作室首席设计师 Alberto Licandro 先生为我们带来新旗袍传统象征与当代设计的主题分享。Alberto 先生出生于米兰，深耕建筑和室内设计领域，曾参与澳大利亚墨尔本地标竞赛，负责悉尼塔的室内设计，并旅居日本，任教于高级艺术大学。在中国期间，他主持了鄂尔多斯煤炭总部、5星级酒店以及上海时尚城总体规划等多个项目，兼具国际视野和在当地的实践智慧。Now let's welcome Mr. Alberto Licandro to the stage and have a speech. Welcome.
你好 First of all, I want to thank all the organizers to have invited me and also the other Italian speakers to this beautiful event, which I hope could help new Chinese designers to start with new ideas, new production in the world, like China is already became a great country in the world. I believe the first one in the world. That's my opinion. So my idea, is starts from a traditional Chinese design, the QIPAO, because years ago I was designing the Shanghai Fashion City for a businesswoman, Chinese businesswoman in Shanghai, and she also has 3 fashion companies. And she asked me, she said, why my fashion sells in China but doesn't sell overseas? She wanted to sell overseas also. So I said, my honest opinion is that your design is beautiful, but it's too conservative. Young girls around the world would like to have a more sexy style, more contemporary for this new century. So I started to come up with the idea of this. And so when we speak of fashion, we're not only speaking of textile, cuts, and decorative motifs. We're speaking of culture, history, identity. Fashion is not only an industry, it is a language, a visual system through which societies express themselves, evolve, and project their aspirations into the future. In this sense, the QIPAO, known internationally as the Xiong'an, occupies a meaningful place. More than a garment, the QIPAO is a cultural icon, a plot of Chinese identity, and an example of how tradition and modernity can coexist within a single shape. It is from this principle that I present my reinterpretation of the QIPAO, not as a nostalgic replica of the past, but as a living dialogue between heritage and contemporary creativity. My work is situated at the crossroads of cultural memory and innovative fashion, offering us a vision of how design can simultaneously honor history and generate new meanings. To fully appreciate my intervention, It is necessary to revisit the origin of the QIPAO first, to know about its history, origin. The garment emerged from the Manchurian robes of the Qing dynasty from the 1644 to 1912. Known for the straight skirts, high collars, and side slits, these robes were initially functional. The slits were meant to provide mobility for the Western lifestyle. Yet, even within this utilitarian context, clothing became a symbol of identity, distinguishing the Manchurian from the Han majority. With the fall of the Qing dynasty and the emergence of the Republic of China in early 20th century, the QIPAO underwent a profound transformation. In cosmopolitan Shanghai of the 1920s and the 1930s, the dress was reimagined by urban women, particularly students and professionals, as a modern body-hugging style. The influence of Western tailoring introduced studs, slimmer silhouettes, with an emphasis on the female form. By mid-century, QIPAO became a paradoxical garment, at once traditional and modern, local and cosmopolitan, modest and sensual. It served as a visible symbol of China, negotiation with modernity, and continues embody this duality even today. My interpretation is deeply anchored in Chinese philosophy and symbolism. Central to my design is the interplay of black and white, colors that in Chinese thought are not simply opposites, but complementary forces. Yin, yang. Black, yin, symbolizes death, mystery, receptivity, and the hidden, whereas the white, yang, symbolizes clarity, light, activity, and revelation. In combining this, I evoke the perpetual dialogue of opposites that constitutes harmony in Chinese cosmology. My QIPAO thus becomes not only a garment, but a philosophical statement. Femininity understood not as a fixed essence, but as a dynamic interplay of contrasts. The ogive-shaped slits, both at the front and the back, reinforce this symbolism. The architectural form recalls the pointed arches of sacred spaces like temple's roof, transposed into the body language. By revealing the skin beneath, they both expose and conceal, suggesting that femininity resides not only in physical form, but in tension between visibility and mystery. Moreover, these slits echo the culminating symbol of femininity itself, and unmistakable, though sublimated reference that anchors the design within the realm of sensuality and symbolic depth. Where do I innovate my design? First, in the choice of materials and colors. My palette places side by side Chinese ink, black silk, Snow White, shining silk, increased by accent of grass, green, orange, and shocking pink. These are carefully chosen chromatic gestures that inject vitality into the yin-yang dialectic. Green evokes renewal and nature. Orange, energy and warmth. Pink, the disruptive force of modern femininity. Second, in the cut and structure. The body is both celebrated and fragmented. Traditional symmetrical lines are interrupted by vertical divisions, color blocks, and inserted slits. The result is the garment that goes between continuity and rupture, between classic elegance and avant-garde experiments. Third, in the symbolic layering. I don't do decoration. I add meaning. The brackets, buttons, and panels function as semiotic elements, constructing a narrative that speaks of dialogue, of contrast, and reconciliation between cultural heritages. In short, my QIPAO becomes a schedule of identities. Manchurian origin, Shanghai modernity, Western influences, and contemporary interpretations, they all coexist on the same fabric. In presenting this work, I participate in a broader discourse within contemporary fashion, the discourse of cultural hybridity. Today, garments no longer belong exclusively to one culture. Instead, they circulate, transform, and acquire new meanings as they move across borders. Yet, in this process, there's always danger of superficial appropriation to reduce cultural symbols to exotic ornaments. I avoid this risk by engaging critically with the QIPAO, situating my design within a deep knowledge of its history, symbolism, and social functions. The result is not a simple mess, but a genuine dialogue. The QIPAO is not used as a decorative motifs, but as a structural framework within which new meanings can be generated. This is precisely what makes my interpretation valuable. It demonstrates how fashion can serve as a site in cross-cultural respect and innovation. To conclude, my QIPAO idea exemplifies how fashion can be both archaeological and visionary. Archaeological digs into the layers of tradition, finding meanings, incorporating history. Visionary, in that it projects these meanings into a contemporary horizon, proposing new forms of femininity, elegance, and cultural resonance. In its black and white, we see yin and yang. In its slits, we see both practicality and sensuality. In its colors, we see vitality, energy, and modernity. Its QIPAO is not only a garment, it is a statement, a dialogue, a performance of identity. It reminds us that tradition is not static, but living, capable of renewal through creative interpretation. And ultimately, it demonstrates that fashion, when approached with depth and respect, can become a profound form of cultural expression, one that honors the past while embracing the future. 谢谢.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Alberto. Thank you, have a good one. 让我们再次把掌声送给 Mr. Alberto， 跟我们分享了中国的传统的旗袍文化。通过刚才 Mr. Alberto 的分享，我们能看到中国的传统文化，尤其是旗袍文化，正在影响着全世界也向我们展示了传统文化和现代设计对话的一个无限可能。相信我们在座的现场的，不管是企业家朋友，还是我们设计界的各位学生同学们也都一定是有很多的启发。那刚才我们经过了4位意大利的设计专家的精彩分享，相信大家对我们意大利的设计理念，包括他们是如何看到我们中国的设计理念，有了更深入的理解。所以我此时也提议，让我们再次把掌声送给我们刚才所有的分享嘉宾。Okay, thanks for all of you for sharing the wonderful moment. Thank you. 好，那接下来呢，我们马上进行到交